President Trump sends out a tweet and makes the mainstream media mad. It's because he sent out to his supporters, do not shop at Goodyear to get tires anymore because they put a ban on MAGA hats. Trump tweets, media mad, we're supposed to care, I really don't, but we're going to talk about it. I'm your host, TJ Evans, and this is the TJ Evans Show. I really don't understand why anyone gets upset about Donald Trump's tweets. I know regular people like you and me don't care about the tweets, but the mainstream media puts it all in the media just to rile us up to care about the tweets. They're the only ones who care. But he sent out this tweet because a slide leaked from an orientation from Goodyear where they said certain things were acceptable in their country and certain tire wasn't. Things that were acceptable were Black Lives Matter and LGBT pride things. Things that were deemed unacceptable were Blue Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, MAGA attire, and political slogans or materials. A couple of things that I can see is a little contradictory in that because a lot of LGBT, not even gonna say a lot, but LGBTQ groups can move as a political power. So yeah, there's that. And Black Lives Matter is a political group. The founders already said they're practicing Marxists. They're trying to destroy the nuclear family. But the news is dishonest about it. And they're so dishonest that they won't even mention the slide where that leaked. But they had the nerve to go to a press conference and question White House press representative Kayleigh McEnany about this particular issue. And hear how they set up the question.
Today, the president encouraged Americans not to buy Goodyear tires, suggesting that they had a ban on MAGA hats, but it appears that their policy is just a ban on political speech. It's pretty common for most companies. So why is the president retaliating against a private company for their dress code and potentially jeopardizing American jobs? So
at first, they're starting off on a lie. So that's cool. But Kayleigh McEnany is really good at her job, and I'm not even going to identify this with a response because it's her job to do it, not me. And she gives pretty much the best answer you can.
Goodyear needs to come out and clarify their policy. There was an image.
It's a statement.
They failed to clarify. Yes, I did see their statement, which still failed to clarify their policy. What happened is there was an image that was put out that showed that certain speech was acceptable, Black Lives Matter insignia, for instance, but what was not allowed was Blue Lives Matter. What was not allowed was MAGA hats. What was clearly targeted was a certain ideology. They have not denied that that image was presented at one of their facilities, and they need to come out.
Racial equality, racial justice, that is okay, but not political speech. That's pretty standard across the board right now. That's not that unusual. Did the president even reach out to Goodyear before he tweeted?
They came out and said equity issues.
That was a great answer. Also, in this past week, the Democratic National Convention occurred. 3 days of nonstop fun with empty promises, platitudes, and a whole lot of orange man bad. And Joe Biden is going to be the hero to save the nation. That was at nighttime. But during the daytime, that's when they let out the real leftist truth. Now, you hear a lot of politicians when we talk about defunding the police, politicians automatically say, we don't mean getting rid of the police. But the truth of the matter is, that's what they're going to do. In this Democratic National Convention that's held on film, like all on the internet, everybody has access to, they told the truth in the daytime.
We're talking about abolishing the police. We're talking about abolishing ICE. We're talking about abolishing prisons.
See, the truth is going to come out. They want to defund the police. Defunding the police is a bad idea because of the simple fact that the police are a necessary evil. Crime is going to happen regardless if the police are here or not, but the police are a necessary deterrent. And who do you think is going to be most affected if they defund the police? The black community. But they don't care about that. I want to go into detail about the Democratic National Convention, but Kamala Harris actually does a bang-up job by summing it up in this one clip.
Let's be clear. There is no vaccine for racism. We've got to do the work. For George Floyd, for Breonna Taylor, for the lives of too many others to name, for our children, and for all of us.
And that's what the Democratic Party is going to run on, is racism. The racism in this country, because it's running rampant. We just see racism everywhere you go. I know for a fact when you went to the grocery store, you saw a man in the Klan's outfit. It's stupid. How can this country be that racist and we had a black president? We have a lot of black individuals in political power. We have the most black billionaires than any other country in the world, and millionaires, but it's a racist country. She's a woman of color, and she's running for vice president of the United States. It makes no sense. Y'all deal with that. The only thing cool about this whole thing was the picture they took of Joe Biden sitting in his chair with all the monitors around him. He looks like a supervillain. That's cool. This Democratic National Convention showed how tone deaf the Democratic Party really is, and how they're ran by the left. But how tone deaf they are, they can't even abide by their own rules. And when somebody breaks the rule, they just sweep it under the rug, other than how they treat conservatives like they have to be the best and perfect person in the world. Like, think about it. They had Elizabeth Warren come and speak. Elizabeth Warren, if you don't remember, was the woman who Donald Trump called Pocahontas. Yeah, the woman who gained traction in her political career by saying that she was part Native American. And then when it come to find out that she actually wasn't Native American, she had to dish out like a bogus apology. But yeah, they had her speak. And guess who she was speaking to?
Hello to the DNC Native American Caucus. It is such an honor to join you all today.
So y'all chose her to speak to the Native American voters. That makes sense. I would have done that too. And then they have people like Bill Clinton come and speak. Bill Clinton, if you don't remember as well, he was the president of the United States. He had a couple things happen in the White House. I'm not going to be vulgar and say what they were, but he attacked Donald Trump's character to hold office as president of the United States.
Time like this, the Oval Office should be a command center. Instead, it's a storm center. There's only chaos. Just one thing never changes: his determination to deny responsibility and shift the blame. The buck never stops there.
Okay, so Bill Clinton is giving lessons about ethics and morality. That's what's up. I didn't know that he knew either one of those things existed, considering the fact that he's a compulsive liar, a womanizer, and a couple other things. And it's amazing how he survived the Me Too movement. Like, he was not canceled at all. And the mainstream media and the people on the left still defend him to this day. And when somebody mentions this, they have this to say.
Has he survived all of these waves of cancellation when he has been one of the biggest violators of these rules at all these years? I mean, we talked last night about the use of character. We talked about the use of.
You were talking about Bill Clinton's character, and what I admire about Bill Clinton is that he has acknowledged his wrongdoing. He's apologized. He's tried to rebuild his family, and I think apologies don't come as often or as easily from the President White House, even when they should. So I don't think we have to say everything Bill Clinton has done is great, but I do think that when he has made mistakes, he's acknowledged them, and I admire him for that.
Redemption. It's funny how the Democratic Party can always move on when it's a Democrat under the fire. Like, even down to the fact that they said move on. Like, there's old news. He already apologized for it. But he lied about the whole situation. Actually, I never even remember him giving a full apology about it. I remember him saying this.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
It's really dishonest what they do to Republican politicians versus Democratic politicians. Think about it. Brett Kavanaugh was being asked about things from high school at his hearings. High school, from his yearbook. But while Bill Clinton was in office as president, he was doing the little hanky-panky things. But that's what they do. That's what the media always does. And I forgot what group this was. They put a montage together. I'm going to drop a link in the description box. But they put a montage together about the same thing that they do, that they did with Bill Clinton. They do with Joe Biden.
Little hands-on treatment from the vice president.
Everybody knows he's a touchy-feely guy, and he's just very friendly. He is. He was reportedly comforting her after she fell on ice.
It's spreading love.
Who said Maggie was not uncomfortable at all?
Mainstream African American. Yeah. Who is articulate and bright and clean and nice-looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
Yeah. There's a part of Biden that feels more Reagan-esque that way. You're like, it's Grandpa, it's Uncle Joe.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Those oh that Joe moments are part of his political charm.
I'm beginning to see why your wife left you.
So much of what is appealing about him to a lot of voters is the fact that he's authentic.
I got hairy legs.
The fact that he doesn't always seem scripted.
The kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down. Your AR-14s are what? Okay, this is not okay. Hold on, all right? Hey, let's there's a lot of guys.
Biden yesterday showed the other side of his humanity, and that is he's a fighter.
All right, thank you.
Now go to shush. And some people see that as charming, a candidate who's willing to air it out face-to-face with a guy.
This is going to be a net plus for Joe Biden.
Yikes. That's the president to be. I guess he's going to be in the White House touching stuff. But other than that, this week a trailer dropped for a new movie. And it kind of shows where they're trying to get an idea out into the minds of people. Now, in the past, it used to be that art imitated life. But for the past, I guess, 10 years, like you can say, 15 maybe, that life has been imitating art. But since Donald Trump has been in office, it seems that life imitates art and art imitates politics. And the politics are only ran by a small group of people. And I don't mean just the bureaucrats that's always in office there that you don't even vote in. I mean like the small groups, fringe groups of people who scream the loudest. There's this new movie called Unpregnant, and it's about a teenage girl who's going on a trip to get an abortion.
Fine, you're fine. You always use a condom, so you're fine.
Hey, dude. I've got this thing. If a young woman needs a procedure, is that possible? Where's the closest facility? There's an Albuquerque in Missouri? The law won't let me get one without my parents knowing. I know we're not close anymore. True. And I'm the last person that you want to help. Accurate. But I need your help, and I don't have anywhere else to go. Go where? To get the thing, the procedure.
So you're hiding this from your man, your best friend,
Hey, girl.
and your Jesus freak parents, and you thought, why not ask Bailey Butler to drive me hundreds of miles? Because she probably doesn't have anything to do anyway.
Kind of, yes.
Bailey, come on. I'm just messing with you. You're right, I do not have anything going on.
I thought you drove a Camry.
Personally, I'm not for abortion. And I don't believe the whole notion, my body, my choice. I feel that, and I know for a fact, and science can prove that it's a different individual in your body. You're just the apartment for that body for 9 months. But it's how they depict it in this movie from the trailer that I can see is that it's like a girls trip movie that friends can bond, like old friends can bond again. She's not telling her newly best friend. She's not telling the guy who got her pregnant, because for some reason men aren't allowed to have any opinion about abortion. And that's what they've been trying to do for a while now. They've been trying to silence men. That's why I always say, again, from earlier, Black Lives Matter is a political organization. And one of the things they're trying to do is dissolve the nuclear family. They have to get the man out the family. They've been trying to get rid of men for the longest. That's why they have that term, masculine, like, what is that? Toxic masculinity. But the man doesn't have an opinion on this, so get him out. And then how they describe the parents, Jesus freaks. Didn't tell them they're Jesus freaks. Because religious people, they're not for abortion. And if you're not for abortion, you're depicted, I guess, as a freak. Netflix is in a bit of hot water because of this poster they released for their new project, Cuties. I didn't really look at the description for this project because after I saw the poster, I was like, what? What are y'all, what is going on? Netflix, they tweeted out an apology, sent out a statement, that's cool, whatever. But look at the poster. The director of the project came out and she tried to clarify some things about the project. Y'all tell me what y'all think.
The film is critical both of the Muslim culture that she comes from, which, you know, you should have a scene in which the sort of matriarch is lecturing the women of the community about how they need to obey their husbands and they have to dress a certain way and they have to act a certain way in a subjugated way, very, very openly she says that. But then you are also very critical of Western culture and how sexualized young girls are encouraged to become and the access they have to extremely sexual content before they have any ability to actually process that or understand what the implications of that are. So it feels like you are really critical of both cultures.
Exactly. This little girl, she's a little bit, she's lost between both, oppression of female, and the question is, should we have the right to choose which women we can be?
I can see what she's trying to say, but how culture is moving from the past, I can't believe it. I really can't. I mean, for the past couple of years, I haven't seen anything but articles about drag queen story hour and how kids can change their sexuality and all this stuff. And people are calling people paranoid and conspiracy theorists because they're talking about pedophilia rings in Hollywood and in the upper echelons of politics. And people are saying that those conspiracy theories, but when you release a poster and what seems to be a little racy project about an 11-year-old girl, I can see why people are asking questions, why people's ears are perking up. And truthfully, from what I see and from what I've seen in the past with the LGBTQ community and that whole movement, what's going to be the next logical step in this whole thing on what's going on in this world? I'm scared because I believe that pedophilia is going to be normalized. And this project, I don't know what it's truly going to be about. I'm not going to watch it, but I feel like it's going to help normalize it. But that's just my personal opinion. I don't know. I'm not the expert on these things, but it just seems that that's just the logical conclusion. We've already opened Pandora's box, so that's just me. That's all I have for you today. I'm your host, TJ Evans. That's all I have for you today. I'm your host, TJ Evans. Peace. But that's all I have for you today. Hope y'all stay mindful of the things that's going on. Keep your eyes open. Continuously do research. I'm your host, TJ Evans, with the TJ Evans Show.